Hello, this is Yusuf, and I'm here to do a tier list on ECE classes at UC San Diego. I've taken a lot of classes, and I kind of want to do this because I think it would have helped me as a freshman going into UCSD many years ago. So let's get started. I'm focusing on ECE classes because I was an electrical engineering major, but I did also take a couple of computer science classes, so I'll include a couple as well. First off is the CSE 194. This is race, gender, and computing. I'll definitely put this as S tier because it is basically diversity in computing, and we have a 1 DEI course requirement at UCSD. So if you're going to have to take that class, you might as well make it a CSE class and one that is upper division because this doubles as a technical elective and also as a diversity class. And to be honest, some of my most fondest memories were in that class. I didn't think I would like it, but it was in a computer science building, and as an EE major going into the CS building twice a week, and getting the coffee from the cart downstairs, going upstairs, it was honestly a vibe. And I did actually, it was a very open-ended final project you could do, so I did actually learn something new, and I was basically able to do whatever I wanted. So I made like a diversity NLP on hate comments on Rumble basically project, and it was actually really fun. I learned about NLP in that project, and I actually have a YouTube video on this channel about that if you'd like to see it, that presentation. But yeah. Next off is CSE 190. That's a topics class. When I took it, I was taking it with, it was basically like an AI in music class. I don't listen to music at all, but it was really cool to see how you can separate different stems of audio. So I would say it was an interesting class. Was it beneficial? It was beneficial if you watched the lectures and the content of the course. And it was really easy, of course, easy A. So I would say maybe as an A tier. It was not that useful, but it was like an easy A basically as a booster class and counts as upper division, I believe. So yeah. CSE 258R, recommender systems, I would put as definitely S tier. That class was with Julian Macaulay. I took it with. Very flexible on the remote thing, and the projects were very fun and basically like a competition type class for the project where you're competing with different students to basically you find the best hyperparameters for your model and you want to basically get the best results. So it was really interesting, and it's not hard to get an A as long as you pay attention, you learn, and you do your best. So I'll definitely put that as an S tier class. CSE 272. That one I'd say is I'd maybe say as a B tier. B tier. It depends on what you're doing though. So this class, if you're basically an EE major, my specialization was machine learning, so this stuff was not really relevant to me that much. But I was really interested to see how you can render images and things like that. I would say the final was very ambiguous in that it would give certain instructions, and basically the feedback you'd get after the final project was you could have fulfilled all the instructions 100%, but you could still not get a good grade. So I would actually say that would make it a B tier as well, maybe even a C tier. But overall, it's supposed to be an easy A course as long as you pay attention, do your best, do all the assignments, and there are lots of opportunities for extra credit. You can get, I think, about 10% at the end of the quarter of extra credit, and the grading scale, I believe, is not like a 90 to 100 is A, but it's like lower, like 80 or 85 to 100 is A, something like that. So again, it's not that useful, but it depends on what you're doing. So I would put it as a B tier. ECE 5, that was my first quarter at UCSD. I took it during COVID, fall 2020. Very easy class, but also you have to you learn a lot basically. They touch upon a lot of different topics: machine learning, image processing, circuits, Arduino, things like that. So I learned so much in that class as a freshman going in. I highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it, so I highly recommend it. And yeah, I mean, very easy to get 100% in the class as long as you do your best. And I did learn a lot. It was a great introduction to the major, so I'd highly recommend that one. Next up is ECE 15. That is C programming. I remember that one. I took that as my freshman year, my fall quarter freshman year as well with Alexander Vardy. He's since passed away, but I remember at the time that gave me a lot of exposure to C programming, and it was a really good introduction to, especially if you haven't coded before. My coding experience at that time was mostly in web development, so I was basically getting into low level programming at that time, and I did learn a lot. A lot of people didn't like it. The grading system and style of this class is very bad. For all the teachers, all the professors, I believe it's kind of one of those classes where it's not really necessarily a weeder. I would say it's a pre-weeder, but it is. You do learn a lot, so I put it as an A tier for sure. My second quarter at UCSD, so I was a freshman, my winter quarter. I took ECE 16 with Edward Wang. This is an amazing class. If you liked ECE 5, you'll really like ECE 16. You do a lot of circuit stuff. You do a lot of messing with components. You do some machine learning stuff as well. You're building your own boards and stuff like that, and gets you really into that part of electrical engineering, which I honestly loved it a lot. It was very fun as long as you actually learn and apply, don't cheat on the assignments. At the time there was no ChatGPT, so we actually did it obviously. And yeah, if you're doing that, you will definitely learn a lot, and it is very fun. If you like electrical engineering and start building circuits and even doing basic machine learning and things like that. So I would highly recommend ECE 16. That's definitely an S tier class. ECE 17, I would say, I mean, it's basically the same as ECE 15, but it's object-oriented programming, and it's basically with C++. So if you took 15, I would recommend taking 17 right after it. You learn a lot about C++. Again, very similar to ECE 15 in that it gets you into low-level programming and C++ programming. So I would recommend that. You're not going to be cracked by taking this class, but if you do want to eventually go into low-latency things or robotics, stuff like that, you will need to know C++, and this is basically the first step that you need to take in that path. ECE 25, I took that also my second quarter at UCSD. That one is digital design. Basically, this is learning about Boolean algebra and AND gates, OR gates, flip flops, things like that. So just digital design essentially. And if you look at digital design is basically building circuits that not analog circuits, but it's basically logic. It's all about logic. So as you can see here, you have some you have AND gates and OR gates. You have NOT gates, and if you don't know this stuff now, when you learn it, you'll understand it. And it's actually pretty fun. I highly recommend taking it. I mean, you kind of have to take it as an EE major. And yeah, I believe in the CSE department, it's CSE 140, 141. So yeah, this is a fun class. I would put it as B tier though, because it's not that useful. I never really use it again after that class, but it was really really fun. And logic wise, I mean, I think it helps with critical thinking and all of that. So yeah, I'd put it as B tier or A tier. Just because it's not that useful, I'd keep it as B tier. I took this one with Professor Sujit Day, and yeah, it was not so great taking it with him in terms of like difficulty and things like that. But again, it was really fun going back. I kind of miss it at this point. ECE 30, not that important. I kind of delayed this class, I believe. Oh no, I did not delay this class. I took this class my I think spring quarter of my freshman year, just because it was that was the last that was like that whole year was remote, and I knew COVID was wrapping up and it was going to be in person, and I wanted to get it over with because all my research on Reddit told me that it's a very tough class and it's a weeder class, so I wanted to get it out of the way. What is this class? It's basically computer architecture. You're learning a lot about low-level programming like assembly, things like that. Similar to 25, at the time I hated it, but afterwards I have an appreciation for assembly coding, and it kind of helps you connect. When you're doing a Python command or a C++ command, what does that translate to in machine code? That is very fun stuff. Again, I didn't use it again, just like 25. I never used this class again, but it was fun, and I'd say it's not that bad. I'll recommend it as a B tier class. 35. This is the most infamous class at UCSD, just because it's just very very it's a weeder class basically. I wouldn't say it's the most difficult class or anything like that, but I would say that essentially when you are at UCSD and you start, and I'll just show an example here. Let's just do a quick drawing board. When you start out ECE at UCSD, things are kind of difficult. ECE 5, maybe ECE 15 makes it go like this, and in terms of difficulty, 35, there's a big gap between 15 and 5 and 25 and 30 and 35. 35 is all the way up here. This is where you end up taking ECE 35, and it's not to say that this is the hardest, because there are stuff that's harder than it, but it's more gradual, and like, yeah, it's not the gap basically between classes you take before 35 and 35 is bigger. So after 35, the gap won't be that big. It'll get harder, but it won't be like a huge gap. So that's the best way I used to explain it to my mentees and my menteed and some of the orgs on campus. So that being said, that's a bad thing, but it's also a good thing. It makes me want to put it down here. But obviously, you do learn a lot, and if you're going down the circuits path or like the more analog design path, obviously, and you want to go into things like just understanding circuit diagrams and ASICs and stuff like that, I would definitely say it's an important class. Me personally, I was machine learning. It wasn't that important for me, and I hated it at the time. It was very difficult, especially if you take it with Kurt. It's not an easy class. It requires a lot of practice, so it's not hard if you do a lot of practice. But that being said, it is kind of an annoying class, and I hated it at the time. But it's useful. The only reason why I'll put it in a higher tier is because it was a useful class. It was not an easy A. Actually, I did not get an A in this class, so I'll put it as a B tier. Just because it's difficult, but it's necessary. So it's a necessary evil, as I'd like to say. 45 is another necessary evil. It's telling you about Laplace and Fourier transforms, things like that. It's a lot of signal processing and things like that. So also super difficult. It's actually harder than 35. And if you take this class, the one word of advice I got as a mentee my freshman year from one of my mentors who was an alumni, he told me that avoid Ziegler. That's the only thing I can remember that he told me at the time. One of the only things he said: avoid Ziegler. So Ziegler teaches this class. The way he does it is like every week he gives you a quiz, and essentially the quiz is like he'll fail. Like he doesn't mind failing you basically. So I mean, the thing is, it'll be like 3 questions. Each question has like 9 answers in the multiple choice. So say you have a question and you work really really hard on the question, and then you made a small mistake somewhere and it gets you to a different solution. That solution will be one of those 9 solutions inside the multiple choice, and then you put that as a solution, you won't get any partial credit for your proper critical thinking. You got that problem wrong. That's a 0, and that's 3 questions that are like that on every quiz every week. So say that you did that and that happened to you on 3 different problems. You didn't get the exact correct solution. It's cooked. You got a 0 on the quiz, and the quizzes are like the whole grade basically. And I'll go to Sunset, kind of show you ECE 45. Let's go here. So let's go to Ziegler here. If you look, this is actually very scary. He taught it in spring 2025. This is the grade distribution: 18% A, 25% B, 15% C, and then 16% got a D, 21% got an F. So this guy, literally almost 40% of his class, he literally failed them. They have to take it again now. And this is all spring quarter. Other quarters was not so great. Was not so great either. 26% D, 17%. But this is what's alarming right here. Like almost 40% failed the class and have to retake it. That being said, avoid Ziegler. I actually avoided Ziegler myself, and because of that advice I got from my mentor. So I actually took it with his PhD student at the time, which was Spencer. And what I was very surprised to know, I took it in the summertime, and I was actually abroad in Egypt at the time, taking it remotely in the summer, is that his PhD student was really chill, had a lot of amazing videos. I actually recommend them. I would say if you could find him, ECE 45 Spencer. I'm not sure if you'll be able to find his videos. Yeah, this channel right here, I'll actually subscribe. You'll get all the lectures here, and he solves a lot of problems. He's actually a goat. amazing. I learned a lot from his videos, and he's very, very, very chill. Unfortunately, when he taught this class, and I don't think he's teaching it anymore, he did the same grading system and style as Ziegler. So I don't know if he failed as many people, but I can tell you that he did the same kind of quiz format. So TLDR of this whole point: avoid Ziegler, take it with somebody else. Be very careful on 45. And if you can take it in the summer, take it in the summer, because that was my best thing. It was only 5 weeks long, and I got it over with. So that being said, it is kind of useful class, but it's just so like hard, and they make it difficult for no reason. That belongs in the C tier. Uh, yeah, and then let's go next. Let's go to the catalog real quick. ECE 101. This course is the next step of 45. So once you take 45, part two, the sequel of ECE 45 is ECE 101. It's easier now. You know a lot of the foundations. A lot of the content is repeated, and it is a useful class. Take it with Sahar. Sahar is a professor. She does very good in this stuff, and you'll learn a lot. So definitely, when it comes to ECE 101, which is the next step of 45, this class right here, you would I'll put it as a B tier. You'll learn a lot, and it's easier than 45, especially because Ziegler isn't teaching it. And yeah, it's kind of useful if you're going down the signal processing route and all of that, learning about these transforms and things like that. So take 101 with her, Sahara, if you can. And yeah, now let's go to 65. 65 is a class that's often paired with 45. Again, if you could take it in the summer, that's my biggest regret. I took it in the fall, I think. So I would recommend taking it in the summer. Not that hard of a class. It's mostly circuits and stuff. It's still, you have to pay attention and go to lecture, and it's a lot of work, this class. But 65, I would say, again, take it with Sahar. Any class, almost any class you see that's taught by Sahar, take it with her. She's very chill, and you learn a lot as long as you pay attention in the lectures. Uh, and she'll work with you as a professor. So I would say 65 is above 45 in terms of like you'll learn more hands-on stuff and you'll learn a lot. And the other thing is that it's easier than 45. I would honestly even put it as an A tier. I think it's a pretty good class. It's not as hard as 45. Nowhere near. Yeah. Uh, okay. ECE 100. ECE 100. I took it with Andrew Hall. I think Sahar teaches it sometimes. I would again recommend you take it with her. 45, 65 are the main prereqs for this course, and I would say that again you learn a lot. It's a very difficult class. It's actually I'd say harder than 101. I would put it as a C tier course, linear electronic systems. So it's a difficult class. I would put it as a C tier, and it's yeah, depending on your specialization, may be useful to you, may not be. ECE 109. So how it happened for me is literally Vardy was teaching it. Who's a professor that passed away that I mentioned earlier. I actually emailed him about it, and he was telling me, yeah, I'm teaching it. I had some questions about the teaching style about it and stuff. So I was taking it with him, and then he unfortunately passed away. So who ended up teaching it instead was Alan Orlitsky. And basically it was an easy A at the time because it was a very last second course and circumstances were tough. So Orlitsky ended up teaching the course. Did I learn much? I think most people that quarter will tell you they did not learn anything. Uh, and his slides are fun and stuff like that. And he had an amazing. The project was good, I'll be honest. But I did not learn anything, to be honest with you. And statistics is very important if you go into machine learning and all of that. So one hand I want to put it in a higher tier because it was kind of easy. However, it's not probably not going to be like that in the future. And also, I did not learn that much, and it's a very important class. So I'll put that as a C tier. ECE 140A and 140B. So these two classes are goaded. These are actually S tier, both of them. One reason why it's S tier is because 140B will count as your design requirement. So that's very, very good. Oh, what did I just do? I think I just moved it. I'm not sure where it went, but yeah, here it is. Yeah, 140B and 140A. They basically teach you full stack product engineering. That's basically what it is. You learn how to develop websites from scratch, full stack, front end and back end, and you'll build product. You learn how about startups. You learn how to build a startup. You learn about the industry. You'll have a lot of opportunity to learn and build things. And honestly, these are probably the best two classes I've taken in UCSD ever. I took it with Richard Gessner and with it was co-taught with Gessner, yeah, and the other professor. I'm not remember his name is blanking on me right now. But yeah, amazing class. Highly recommend. And yeah, 140, 140B. You learn again about software engineering, product development, startups, building your own company. You will learn just so much. You will not learn more than any class than 140A and 140B. So I'm glazing this class because it deserves it. It's an amazing class. Again, 140A, 140B. I did not take 141A. There's another one called 141A and 141B. This is one of my regrets. I wish I took this. If you are an electrical engineering major and you want to learn about computer science, I kind of thought I knew a lot about computer science and CS, so I didn't take it. But this is a pair of classes taught by the same professor, so Professor Gessner and the other professor that taught it. You will learn so much about data structures and algorithms and C++. And again, you'll learn about industry patterns and things like that you have to use. I have a lot of friends that took this class. I tried to auditing it, but it was a busy quarter for me, so I did not go that deep into it. But this pair, take this as well. So take ECE 141A, 141B, and also take ECE 140A and 140B. So it's not on my tier list because I didn't take it, but this definitely would go in S tier from what I've heard as well. 143 now is programming for data analysis. This is a Python class. It was kind of easy. You learn a lot about coding and stuff like that. Kind of very broad on Python, using Python as a tool to build things. And professor comes from industry, so actually this goes to S tier as well. I'd say maybe A tier actually because it's not it's kind of easy. And it's not that in depth, but you'll learn a lot. I'd say still if you don't know Python that well. So this should basically be renamed to Python for data analysis. But yeah, I would still take it. And yeah, I took it back then. No one really used ChatGPT when I took it, so I learned a lot. I think now students use it for a lot of things. So I'm not sure how it bodes with ChatGPT's release, but I would still recommend it for sure. Okay, 148. This is a S tier class. The only thing I would say is treat it like a full time job. It's a lot of hours. A lot of coming in on weekends. A lot of coming in late. Uh, I would say you'll learn a lot about robotics and the different libraries and ROS 2 and things like that that come with it. You basically have an NVIDIA Gibson device, and you're basically using it to build a self driving car. You will learn so much, and then not just building a self driving car, but there's a project where you're doing something interesting and novel. So you have to basically work with the professor and make a team and build this. Build, have it do something cool. So what my project did, we had it basically first we had it I'll actually show you a video on my channel. Essentially I'll show you that what we first did is we had it, I think it's unlisted actually, I'll say it's here. First we had it, we wanted the self-driving car to self-drive, go around and record all of the points to create a 3D rendering. So we used point cloud. So that's what we started doing. As you can see, I'm not sure what's going on here. So yeah, as you can see, that's the camera. The camera would record all the points that are detected around it, and we wanted the car to drive around and record them all and create a CAD, like a point cloud basically. That ended up being a lot harder than we thought. So what we ended up doing is making it do a panorama basically, where the camera would look around and then get different snapshots, and basically we'd stitch it together and make it into a panorama. So I would say you learn so much about robotics in this class if that's what you want to go into, and you don't know that much about the theory of robotics and control systems, but you want to learn about the actual applications. Take 148 and pair it also with control systems if you want to be cracked robotics engineer. So if you want to be a cracked robotics engineer, I'll skip to these two here. Now, 171A, 171B. If you're into robotics, these are very important classes. I put them into A tier because they're also not very hard to get an A in, and you will learn a lot about control system, and it's actually kind of easy controls, and you learn about different things like just the control functions and things like that, and how robotics translates into math. So very useful if you're into robotics. I was a little bit into robotics, but I ended up going a different path in my career as I'm more interested in some more software based things and some more. I have more interest in like hardware, like circuits, and I also have more interest in software. So in between that is robotics, and I kind of skip around that. But again, if you're into robotics, A tier for sure. And yeah, these two, I took the first one, 171A with Nikolai. He's a craft professor. I would highly recommend taking it with him if you can. I took 171B with Yuan Shi. She's also an amazing professor. You'll also learn a lot taking this class with her. 172A was taken. I took it with Mohan Trivedi. This is more of a lot of a memorization stuff has to be done in this class. So the homeworks you'll learn a lot if you do it. It's like you have to do coding and you'll build like breadth first search and things like that. So actually, if you look at my channel, you'll see that I built some. I built like Shannon's mouse. It's really interesting to learn about that. But Shannon's mouse, it's like a robot traversal thing. A star algorithm swarming, things like that. You build these things, and it's not really machine learning, but it's more of like a low level beginning of machine learning, how it started. So I would say you learn a lot about that stuff, and the homeworks is where you do those projects essentially. In terms of the exams, it's all memorization, bro. Like they'll literally like ask you to like. Okay, so memorize, like you have to memorize basically historical things. Who did this and when did they do that, or why did this person invent this and when did they do it? So if you're more of like a math guy, maybe it's not the best. The final exam and midterm exam are not best for you, but I would say it's an easy GPA booster if you can do that stuff. And again, if you do the homeworks, it's fun. It's fun. So I'll put it as an A tier, I guess. Maybe a B tier, but I'll keep it as an A tier for now. And that was with Mohan Trivedi. And again, it's very cool. You'll learn a lot, I think. Just not the final, not just not learning a lot in the final and midterm. That stuff is just more just for fun, and it's fun to know like history. Like you learn about IBM Watson and the very humble beginnings of machine learning. Alan Turing and all of that. 174, that was the hardest class I took in undergrad. That was with Pia Pal. She's an amazing professor. As long as you go to all the lectures and you practice all the problems and you work very hard, you have to treat this class as a part-time job, put a lot of hours into it. If you'd ask me when I was at UCSD what I would put in D tier, I would put that in D tier because it's so hard. But do you learn a lot, and is it useful, and is she an amazing professor? Yes, yes, and yes. It's just very difficult, and although it's very useful, you will want to cry when you're taking this class. So I'll put it as the reason why it's not on the bottom is because it's very useful and she's an amazing professor and you will learn a lot if you do your part. But the reason why it's not on the top is because it's so much work and it's so hard. But again, you will learn a lot in this class, so I'll put it as a B tier class. And she actually curves really well at the end of the class, so it's a good thing for your grade, but it's bad because a whole quarter you'll be stressed out because you don't know what you're going to get. You'll feel like you're getting an F in the class or a C, and then she'll end up curving, and I think the worst in the class you end up getting is a B minus or something like that, and you'll probably get like a B, B plus. So maybe I put it in the higher arc of the B tier. So basically the very top of B, bottom of A, I'd say. Just continuing off of that, I'll skip to her graduate version of that class. She also teaches ECE 269. I would actually say I'll put it as the same. So I'll put it as the same class, basically just graduate version, harder. Uh, so yeah, same reasoning. I'll say that I said for 174 applies to 269. It's a very important class. I don't know if I would recommend the compit as a comprehensive exam. But again, yeah, very similar. And again, amazing professor. Just go to office hours, go to class, go to discussion, all of that. ECE 175A, I'm throwing that down there. ECE 175A and ECE 271A, those are taught by this professor named Nuno Vasconcelos. Very difficult class. He's not an easy professor. I would say personally, I don't know if I would recommend taking it if you don't have to. You will learn a lot, But I would say, like, honestly, I would recommend personally, if I had the option, I would just audit like the Stanford has a version of this class that's online. I would just rather audit that class than go under the stress and mental health destruction that you get in this class, 271A and 175A. Very difficult, a lot of stress. He's not an easy grader, and he will destroy your GPA. He does not care. It's his ECE. We'll start with this one, 175A. So I mean, the distribution again, he won't. Maybe he won't fail you. Maybe he won't fail you as for the lower division class. The undergrad class, 175A. He may not fail you, but I will say that he will definitely give you a C or B, and it's a lot of stress. You'll be so stressed on the exam. His graduate version, 271A. Again, maybe he won't fail you, but I mean, it's very stressful. You will have your mental health will basically be out of the window while taking this class, and it's just so stressful. His exams are so hard. He'll curve it, but you'll just be so stressed. Uh, so again, I'll definitely say that for this class, okay, maybe F tier. It might not be that bad. Maybe I'll put it as this. Just because it's so hard and it is useful. That's the only reason why it's not F tier, and you will kind of learn. But just because of how like stressed I was in these classes, I would keep it down here. And as a professor, I don't like him as a professor, to be honest, in terms of like how he teaches and all of that. And yeah, that being said, I'll definitely put him down here. Yeah. 176. This is a fun class. I believe Professor Wang Xilong Wang teaches this. A lot of Jupyter Notebook stuff. It gets you familiar with Python and basically the Jupyter Notebook side of data science and machine learning. So in the project, you have a lot of opportunity for creativity. So I'll definitely say 176 is very fun. And I would say is a GPA booster class, 100%. Will you learn a lot of theory? Not really, but he still teaches some theory. So I'll put it as an A tier. And that same thing goes for his special topics class. So he taught ECE 285 as well as a deep generative models class. And yeah, so that being said, for that 285 that he taught, it's basically the same exact thing as ECE 176. It's very different, like barely different. So I'll put that there as well, next to 176. 225A. This was I took this with the Alon Orlitsky. If you look at the grade distribution here, you'll probably get a decent grade. You won't get a C minus or anything. I see 7% got a C minus last time he took it. But you'll probably not fail. You'll not fail the class. But his lectures are not that. They're kind of fun, but I don't know if you'd learn that much in the lectures. You do have to do a lot of practice. You do have to do a lot of work on your own. Uh, and as a professor, I remember one time personally for the midterm, I was actually very sick, and I emailed ahead of time asking in advance if any accommodation could be done. Granted, it was like it was kind of late notice, but he did not answer that question, and I had to end up going in the exam. And like actually, my friends were telling me like I could hear you sneezing and coughing in the exam, and it was like yeah. So and he did not even answer the email. So uh, as a person, I'm not going to comment on him, but I'll just say if you could take it with someone else, it might be better to take it with someone else. Otherwise, it is pretty easy A. I mean, as you can see, half the class gets an A. So, and it's kind of a useful topic, but you will learn. I personally learned more from the textbook and YouTube than I did in his lectures. So, yeah, it's 225A, which is this one. I guess I would put it as a B tier class. Uh, so I guess 198. This one, this was the program HKN has at UCSD. You can take group credit for this. I did it twice, so I got 4 units total. It's a pass no pass class, so you don't get any A or GPA boost or anything, but it fulfills a technical elective. It helped me graduate early my undergrad, so and it's very fun. You go to inner city schools and you basically teach elementary schoolers, middle schoolers, high schoolers about AI, machine learning, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering. It's very fun and it's very amazing. And honestly, to make you a well-rounded person, because just taking these really difficult theory classes and even like the application classes, they'll make you a good engineer, but they will not make you a great engineer. I think a great engineer needs to be able to teach. And that being said, this class is amazing. I'll put it as S tier. You're able to teach these concepts to kids, and you're making a difference. You're actually just in the inner city. They're not like rich kids. They're like a lot of these kids need these kind of mentorship, and they need exposure to engineering. So it's my personal opinion, but I would say it makes you a more well-rounded person and engineer. So that goes into S tier for me. ECE 208, basically it's just a bunch of PAs that are biology related, and you have to do DNA stuff, and you don't need to know biology to do it to basically do well in this class. You'll learn the basics in the class, and I believe I think it's a GPA booster class that you can take. So yeah, maybe it's not listed here, but yeah, I would say that it's a fun class to take. I guess maybe it will not make you that cracked, but I guess it'll increase your proficiency in Python. I guess so. Maybe I'd put that into a B tier class. Yeah, maybe actually I would put it as a C tier because it's not as useful as the other classes in C tier actually. So literally all the classes above this are more useful than this class, so it's not that useful. ECE, machine learning for physical applications. This is a lot of control theory stuff, and also like you're basically looking at machine learning and control theory intersection. Very cool. I took it with a Yuan Yuanchi again, so I took her twice. I took it for the other class that was 171B, and I took it for this class. So this, you learn a lot more about control theory and building a really high, basically professional project. For the project that we built, my team, I can show you actually. So it's called seismic LSTM. What we did basically is we wanted to basically mitigate like for earthquakes and things like that, all the computational costs that you'll have, for these kind of things for nonlinear structure systems. So Basically we use Bayesian model for this, and I mean, you can kind of look at the repository if you'd like. The README, I kind of made it with AI. I put in the information, the text, and what we did, and my Lothics, my report, and I just had it like make it look nice and pretty as a README. But these are a lot of these are this is all correct. I double checked this, so don't worry. But these are all results. We learned a lot about building a really important and complicated, complex project. And again, control theory and machine learning intersection is goated. So I would put this actually as A tier class. Yeah. 250 random processes. It has a lot of intersection and overlap with ECE 225. It'll help you be good at things like ECE. It'll like basically probability and statistics and things like that, and more stochastic things. Uh, I don't think it's that important, but it would help you. Again, as a class though, the grading is really bad. I only took it for comp exam reasons, so basically I'll throw it down there as a C tier. It's not really important, and to be honest, I'd put it as a D tier actually because it's hard, and it's needlessly hard. It's not required, so you don't even have to take it. So I'll put it as a D tier class. It's not as bad as 271A and 270 and 175A. Like Nuno's classes are a lot harder and more stressful. So I'll just leave it at the top of the D tier. 253 easy comp exam and easy A. That goes to A tier. It just helps you out. Sometimes we as students need a break, and you learn a lot about different processes and image processes and stuff like that. The only downside is you have to build your own data model for this class. So essentially, 253 is fundamentals of digital image processing. You learn more about the application side, but he also goes over the theory side. So you learn a lot in this class. And that one, basically, you'll find we did it, my group and I, we just built some robust image restoration using machine learning and, of course, digital image processing techniques. So, if you want to see our repository, it's over here. But I'd say we did our part. We learned a lot. The only thing that's annoying is that you have to make our own data. We couldn't just use data that was on Kaggle. So we had to take like hundreds of pictures of, I think it was hundreds of pictures of basically of car license plates. And I made a Kaggle data set, for this. I don't think anybody used it other than us, but yeah. Interesting class though, recommend it. And then this class is the last one, 276A. This one is basically sensing and estimation robotics. All I'll say, I took it with Nikolai Tanisov again, and it was very, very, very difficult class. The projects, if you think a project class will make a class easy, like it's because it's projects, you're very, very mistaken. Very difficult class, super hard, super duper duper hard, not easy. The grading system is fine. He'll give you a good grade. It's not hard to get a good grade in this class, but as long as you put hours and hours and hours of work. I remember coming in on weekends. I did an all-nighter one night with my friends on this class, just for studying for the final. I would say my only comment to the professor on this class is, if you're gonna make us do really, 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 really difficult projects, and also make us do final exam, I would say you need to pick one. Like, either make us have a super tough exam that we have to study for and prepare hours and hours for, or give us very, very difficult projects as he did. Because us having to do both made it very difficult. The grading is fine, but just because of how difficult it was, although it was a very useful class, especially for robotics, I'll throw it in the bottom of B tier. And this might be a hot take because I did learn a lot in this class, and it's not that hard to get a good grade. But you have to put so much time into it. And honestly, if he didn't have a final exam, I'll probably throw it into A tier, because I did learn a lot from the projects. But just having to do a final exam and the projects and my other course load made it very, very difficult. So that's a tough one. As a bonus, I will also talk about one last class that's not listed here, which is basically stochastic processes. I believe it's math. Let's see. Oh yes, math 180B. I believe I took. I think no, it was not this one actually. It was something else. Math 2 something. It was a graduate version. Let's see here. Stochastic. It was called stochastic processes. So I'm just gonna see if there's graduate version listed here. Yes, 285. Math 285 goes over Markov models and chains and Gaussian processes. It's honestly, you learn a lot about randomness and things like that. Again, not that useful, but I took it and it was very useful. Again, it was a fun GPA boost as well. It's easy to get an A in that class. So if I were to list it and it's not in my list of classes here, then I would definitely have to throw that class into maybe tier. I would say tier A or tier B probably, just as a GPA booster. Not because I'm learning important things, because it's not important unless you're really big into data science. And yeah, this is my by the way, I built this tier list thingy. I didn't want to use the tier list website. I didn't want to have to load everything into it. This was just easier for me to do. So yeah, maybe I might end up deploying this as on my website, my portfolio, and maybe you can do your own tier list of classes. Maybe I'll add more classes to it. But these are the classes I felt like making a tier list of after my time at UCSD. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I just thought I'll do this for fun because it's still kind of fresh in my mind, and I remember these classes. People ask me for advice all the time, so this is kind of a tier list, and it's give or take, right? I would make, there are a few things that, like, there's still a margin. I'll change things as, so maybe this might be able to go to S tier, or maybe even these might not be D tier, maybe they're C tier. I don't think I'd put anything in F tier, just overall in general. If we're talking about difficulty, obviously these bottom two go to F tier for sure. But yeah, this is my tier list, and yeah, I might deploy this so you can make your own tier list with the ECE classes at UCSD. And if I do that, I'll add that link in the bio. Thanks for tuning in, and let me know again if you have any questions. Thanks.